All right, the big story that we're tracking right now, Prime Minister Modi has concluded his Singapore leg of the two-nation tour. Remember, he first was in Brunei, then in Singapore. On your screens are some of those images that had come in earlier, where Prime Minister Modi was at the roundtable meeting with business leaders along with Singapore companies. In terms of the big picture outlook, let's get in Swaroop Gupta as well as Abhinav Mishra joining me on the broadcast. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out the time and speaking to me on NDTV World. Let me start with you, Mr. Mishra, which is that this update that has come in from Morgan Stanley, the fact that India could have a higher weightage than China, is essentially a reaffirmation of the Indian economy.
Thank you, Gauri, for inviting me. I think definitely it has been nothing new that India has been on a growing trajectory for the past decade. In the recent years, though, with the significant investments that we have seen across technology, infrastructure, and now also in manufacturing, the growth in both capital markets and the broader economy has been significant. And what we are anticipating is that the overall FDI into India will grow anywhere from what we see at about $80 billion today to about $100 billion within the next 5 years. And definitely, while India, to be honest, has not yet crossed China, and that will take some time on the MSCI index and such indices, but then historically, the weightage of India used to be under 10%, which is now inching towards equal weight with China. So right now, I think we are already about 19% in MSCI with the change that happened recently in August. Whereas China now has been pulled down from about 39% to close to 24%. So that definitely shows that the world is looking at India, and a lot of investments and foreign capital is there to stay with India and contribute to its growth as well.
Indeed. And most importantly, you're right about the fact that we've jumped from 9% to 19.8, a little under 20%. This growth has actually come in about 3.5 years. So we were 9.2% at the end of 2020, and at the end of August 2024, we are just a little bit under 20%. So this is the growth that India has seen in about 3.5 years, which is why it's significant and remarkable, and also coming at a time when the Chinese economy continues to face headwinds. And just 30 seconds to tell our viewers right now that, when you simplify this, what does it mean and why does it impact viewers watching this, which is that the GDP growth rate is one aspect of the economy doing well. The other aspect, what Morgan Stanley has been talking and said today, is how more and more investors want to pump in money into India, because as an emerging market destination, it now looks more primed to get larger fund flows than what it did earlier, which is why the weightage in the index has gone up. Now, a lot of investors don't go about investing directly into a country. They do so through the MSCI index as well, which is why this is so important. And if fund flows increase, it means access to capital, access to more funding for companies, and that starts another cycle of expansion. Now, Abhinav Mishra, a lot of investors do seem to think that maybe the markets in India, they've had a great bull run this year, but are they headed for a correction? That was a question being asked before Morgan Stanley came out with this report. So clearly, those naysayers or those skeptics seem to have got their answer already. There's a lot more in the Indian equity markets right now.
Absolutely, and I'm not denying that the valuations have been increasing recently, but the truth also is that India has shown resilience in the way its economy is operating, but also of late in the capital markets, and the not only the foreign flows, the domestic flows have been increasing steadily. And what that means is
any sectors that you think would probably attract disproportionately higher fund flows given this change in commentary and change in weightage?
Indeed. So I think these services has always been a player, and I think with the advent of the focus on data, AI, and semiconductors, both IT services and technology-related R&D would still be sectors of focus. However, going forward, we are seeing a lot of capital flows would come to green energy and infrastructure space as well. India as a booming economy will continue to need significant investment in both infrastructure and to really reap the benefits of its demographic dividend,
Yes.
we will need to create a lot of jobs, and those jobs would largely come from the manufacturing and the boom in manufacturing sector. And the
Absolutely.
current government has been focusing a lot in that space.
Absolutely.